Patrick Henry was one of the most famous leaders of the American Revolution. He was known for his powerful speeches and strong support for American independence. His most famous words, "Give me liberty or give me death," inspired many colonists to fight against British rule. Patrick Henry played a key role in shaping the early ideas of freedom and self-government in the United States. Patrick Henry was born on May 29, 1736 in Hanover County, Virginia. His father was a farmer and a surveyor, and his mother came from a religious family. Patrick was mostly educated at home by his father, who taught him reading, writing, and math. As a child, Patrick loved to read and often listened closely to adults talking about politics and religion. Patrick tried several jobs before finding his true calling. He first tried working as a storekeeper, but his store failed. Then he tried farming, but that didn't work out either. Finally, he studied law on his own and became a lawyer in 1760. He was a great speaker and quickly became known for defending common people in court. He used simple language and strong emotion that juries could understand and believe. Henry first became famous in 1763 during a case known as the Parson's Cause. The case was about whether the King of England had the right to overrule laws made in Virginia. Henry argued that the king had no right to interfere in local matters. He said that when a king acts like a tyrant, he loses the right to be obeyed. This idea shocked many people, but it showed Henry's bold thinking and his belief in the rights of the colonies. As tensions between Britain and the American colonies grew, Patrick Henry became more active in politics. In 1765, he was elected to the Virginia House of Burgesses, the colonial government of Virginia. That same year, Britain passed the Stamp Act, which put taxes on paper goods in the colonies. Many colonists were angry because they had no say in the decision. Patrick Henry gave a fiery speech against the Stamp Act. He warned that if this kind of tax was allowed, it would lead to even more unfair control. In his speech, he compared King George III to Julius Caesar and said that if British rule continued, the colonies would become slaves. Some members of the House were shocked and thought he was speaking against the king, but others were inspired. His bold words helped spark protests across the colonies. The Stamp Act was later repealed. Patrick Henry continued to be a leader for freedom. In 1775, he gave his most famous speech. At a meeting in Richmond, Virginia, leaders were debating whether to prepare for war with Britain. Some wanted to wait and try for peace, but Henry stood up and gave a powerful speech urging action. He ended with the famous words, "I know not what course others may take, but as for me, give me liberty or give me death." The speech had a strong effect. The leaders agreed to form a militia to get ready for war. A month later, the first shots of the American Revolution were fired at Lexington and Concord. During the war, Patrick Henry served as the first governor of Virginia. He was elected in 1776 and served several terms. As governor, he helped support the American army and keep Virginia safe. He worked closely with other leaders like George Washington and Thomas Jefferson. Even though he never held national office, Henry stayed active in Virginia politics for many years. After the war, a new U.S. Constitution was written in 1787. Patrick Henry did not support it at first. He believed it gave too much power to the federal government and not enough to the states. He was worried it could lead to a government that acted like a king. He spoke out strongly against the Constitution at the Virginia Convention. In the end, Virginia voted to approve the Constitution, but Henry's concerns helped lead to the creation of the Bill of Rights, which protects individual freedoms. Later in life, Patrick Henry retired from politics and returned to his farm. He was offered many important jobs, including Secretary of State and Chief Justice of the Supreme Court, but he turned them down. In 1799, President John Adams asked him to join the government again. Henry agreed, but he died before he could take office. He passed away on June 6, 1799, at the age of 63. Patrick Henry is remembered today as a passionate defender of liberty. He believed that people should have the right to govern themselves and to speak out against unfair rule. His speeches inspired people to stand up for their rights and helped lead the way to American independence.